everybody. Here we are in my workshop. Not so live again, unfortunately. We're gonna just cancel this week off, I think, with technical issues. It's been one of those. But the content's going to be the same. Hopefully, I'm going to give you some information that will help you in your own turning at home. Now I'm really quite excited because not only are we getting to do these videos, but they're improving each time. Now, what the old saying is, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I think that because of all these technical issues, we're finally getting a much better broadband service as of 2 weeks time. And I'm also getting some more tech. I'm investing myself in some nice new tech, which should make the video streams much better for you guys. Don't hold your breath though, everywhere's out of stock, so I'm struggling with that. But I'm hoping certainly within or by the end of next month we should have a lovely new setup. For me personally, I find that really exciting news. But today's project is going to be, it's led again by all your questions. So I've got a few questions here. I'm just going to read out the first one. Purely because that set me up for this one here. So this is from Clive. He's asking, could I do some barley twist using the Sorby texturing tool? Now, Clive, don't forget why I'm here. I'm working for Axminster Tools. That's my life, is Axminster. So I'm in my little Axminster bubble. I'm using all my Axminster gear, but don't worry. That Sorby tool is one that we've also got in a crown version. Now, I've just done a small recorded video on introducing the crown tools using the Axminster Evolution handle, and it's a new product for us. Really quite excited about it. So I want to show that off probably next week, because there's around about 15 different tools in that kit. So I'm quite keen to show you, and I think it's really good as well. But I haven't got that here today. So what I thought we could do is a long stem goblet with a spiral, but we're going to hand cut it. So we're going to hand cut it with some file rasps, just to show you how to do that. Now, just as an example, I'm going to reach over the lathe and show you a project. This is made by, if you haven't seen him demonstrate or seen his work, Stuart Mortimer. Probably he's in the same camp as Ray Key and Bert Marsh and all those masters of wood turning. Proudly call him a friend, and he has inspired a lot of people, but this is one of his boxes. He is famous for doing barley twists and spirals and things like that. Now this is one of the pieces of his that I'm lucky enough to own. So Charlie, just bring the camera a little bit closer. Let's just have a look at the little twist on this. Remember guys, this is a hand cut twist on the top of that little finial. And that's something that you can do just with a little bit of practice. We're going to show you how to do that on a goblet in a moment. Okay, so there's a nice little project there. That's just a box. I say just a box, it's a box. And just with that bit of decoration on top. So the tools we're going to use, they're file rasps. Don't worry, I have all the part numbers for you if you want to give this a go. Differing sizes. And then a finishing file here, which is a chainsaw file because of its parallel steel. Okay, so we're going to look to do that. So there's lots of things today, really. We're going through how to do a goblet, but we're also doing how to do a spiral as well. So that was the first one. That was from Clive, and that's why we're doing this one. But don't worry, Clive. The way that Sorby tool works is going to be explained when I use the crown one next week. Okay, so no worries there. Hopefully by next week, the issues that we're having with the live feed on Facebook will be sorted, so we'll be back live again. So another question here before we start from Bob. Melamine, is it a good wearing finish? Melamine is fantastic, and you can get that as a spray, you can get it as a paint on. It's a really hard wearing finish. I found it a little bit harder wearing than the acrylic lacquers that you can get. So yes, fantastic. Just be aware that if you're using it with food and stuff, just check the tin, make sure that your finish is going to be safe enough to use with food. So if we're thinking like wine glasses, that sort of stuff. Okay. And another one here, a difference between finishing oil and tongue oil. Now tongue oil is an untreated oil. So tongue oil is from a nut. If you think finishing oil sometimes contains tongue oil in it, but tung oil doesn't have a drying agent, so they take a long time to dry, like walnut oil and things like that. They take a long time to dry. That's the only issue with all of those natural oils. Think about drying times. Okay, and then one is, I'm currently converting my garage into the first ever proper workshop. Any thoughts on layouts? Yes, I've got loads of thoughts on layouts and kit. It's very personal though. I mean, you've seen my workshop. I think tools behind you rather than in front of you, that sort of thing, just for safety, so you're not leaning over an operating lathe. I have a planer thicknesser for a turner. I think that's really important. A bandsaw for the same reason. A couple of sharpening devices, compressors for airbrushing and for resin if you want to get into resin. A decent workbench, and obviously decent storage. It's like anything else, you can never have enough storage. Okay. That's a very, very brief thing really. Think about, the best advice is think about what you want to do in your workshop, which is difficult if you're a beginner, but think about it to start with, and then start laying out your essential tools, giving them enough room, and then everything else goes around that. I will be honest with you, whatever size workshop you have though is never going to be big enough. So, and that's just part of what we deal with. This never will be big enough. So there's a few questions. I need to carry on, so we're going to ask a few more questions as we go, and we'll get this thrashed out. So, okay, so let's think about our goblet. So to start with, I've got a piece of sapele here. So this is a kiln-dried timber. It's what we use in place of the mahoganies now, and I do a lot of trophy bases. It's all from sapele. And then I use a product called Stainax, which actually physically changes the colour of the timber, and it's a wax at the same time. It gets buffed off after it's dry, and it's a lovely old antique looking finish. But what we need to do first is we're going to rough this down. Measurements on here, I've just grabbed a bit of timber so I don't know. So measurements on here, I've got a 60mm square, and I've got nearly 200mm long. It's about 195. And all we're going to do to start with is round this down to a cylinder. So Charlie, if you come in nice and close, we're going to get some light on the situation. I'm going to have dust extractor going, guys, for a lot of this. This is a a dusty old timber. It's very dry, and sapele does get to me a little bit. So for mine and Charlie's benefit, we're gonna get the extractor on. Just to let you know, I had both of my tech supports on hand yesterday to try and get the live feed working, both Charlie and Finn, and neither of them could get it going. It transpires that it wasn't us, it was a Facebook issue, which we're trying to deal with at the moment. So fingers crossed, all good for next week. Here we go. So I'm gonna rough this down around and prepare one end. Blade speed to 0 first. Turn the machine on. I've already checked the corners. And I'm going to rough this down at about 1600 reps. There we are. Let me just show you that a second. So I haven't roughed down fully, that's fine, but all I want to do now is make a hold point for this end, for the C-jaws. Charlie, just pan back a minute, I want to show you something. Okay, so speed sizer. I've spoken to you about the speed sizer before. And I'll be honest with you, Chris Fisher, the blind woodturner, came to us with this idea and said, look, I use this all the time because of my disability. I can't see to size, so I've come up with this idea. Absolutely fantastic. I thought, brilliant. Okay, so I used the tailstock, got it up to a bowl blank, scribed some lines. So I thought, okay, yeah, brilliant. It's fairly limited, but nice. I've been using this now probably for about a fortnight, and it's one of those things that I never realized literally how useful this is. I'm so enthusiastic about it because things that I didn't realize, you know, I've always asked if we can do a chart for the wall for sizes for jaws, and it's been sort of mixed with sort of different opinions as to why not to do it. This is my chart now. Just without realizing, it's transformed my measuring so much easier. If you think about it now, if I have to size something, I just look for the jaws. So it's got A, B, C, D, all the different jaw ranges on here. I literally just set my dividers to the measurement that it's got here. I don't have to measure anything anymore. It's one of those little gadgets which has transformed the way I work in this workshop. Absolutely brilliant. Saved me so much time. So I want to get an internal C jaw fit on that one. So internal C, I'm just going to open my calipers to the measurement that I've got on here. Internal C. Lovely. Now all I do is use the calipers to size my foot. Alright. That goes over the top. Oh, I'm pretty much there already. I don't need to go any further. So let's just size a little foot, and then with the parting hook, just clean up the underside. So I've got the foot's the right size. We're happy with that. Made nice and easy with the speed sizer there. Certainly on dividers as well for bowl blanks, for feet and stuff like that. Fantastic. So yeah, now Charlie, you can come back in again. I just wanted to rave about that speed sizer because it sort of caught me unawares really. I didn't realise its full uses until I actually started playing with the thing. There we are. So we've got our foot. Okay, we've got a little bit of a recess there, and that's gonna be a nice strong grip. And we're gonna, like I said, it's gonna be C jaws. Look at that, perfectly sized. That 6mm gap up through the middle. When I say 6mm gap, I mean this between the jaws. When the jaws are made, they're made as a round and then they're split through with a 6mm, around about 6mm slither taken out. So you can see how well that's done. There we are. So I'll give that a good tighten up now. Now, next thing I'm gonna do is just, with the tailstock engaged, I'm just going to rough down to a true cylinder just to take these flaps away. So lay speed to 0, turn it back on again. And back to our roughing down. There we are, down to around. Now I'm going to do a classic Stuart Mortimer style goblet. So I'm going to keep the tailstock on. No, I'm going to take the tailstock off just for the minute. We're going to bring him back in a second because I just need to hollow out first. So Charlie, I think we need to come in this area now. We're going to do the centre of the goblet first. Okay, I want to cut down to about 40mm. So we'll measure that in a second. I need my light. The magnet on this light is so strong, I struggle to get it off sometimes. I'm worried that I'm going to going to damage it. Yeah, that's perfect, Charlie, thank you. I might bring the handle round in a minute, so we might need to just move the camera a little bit. So lathe speed here, I'm up to 1400 RPM. We're just going to clean that surface. Now I'm just going to also make a little divot in there with the tip of the skew. There we are. I'm going to cut down to a depth of 40 millimeters. So let me just take a measurement. I'm going to use a drill bit. There we are, there's our 40 mil. Now whilst I'm doing this, Charlie, can you just have a look at some of those questions? Just pop them out to me when you get 5. And I can carry on doing this whilst you're asking. So all we're doing, we're using the bevel to start us off, and I'm going to make a little OG sort of shape. So this is a double movement with the handle, so I'm going to push the handle away from me to do the convex curve, then I bring the handle back to do the concave. Just bring that camera back to show everybody the handle movement that I'm doing as I make this OG shape. So we're starting bevel rubbing, push the handle away. That creates the concave, as long as the bevel's rubbing still pushing up the length of the handle before bringing it back. And that makes the little concave at the bottom. So it's a double movement with the handle. Okay, Charlie. Now, you may think that 40 mil is not very deep, but believe me, when you start hollowing it out, it seems a long way down. Now we're getting there. So Charlie, just take the camera back a little bit. It's just in the way of my handle a little bit. There we are. Now I would always suggest using a bowl gouge for that, but if you're uncomfortable and want to use a scraper, yeah, absolutely. Just be aware though, and let's have a little look in there for you. Just be aware, if you're going to use a scraper, that the stress on the lathe is far stronger, so you'll get a little bit more vibration when doing it. There we are, back up. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to sand and finish the inside. Now this is a decorative goblet. I'm not trying to make this liquid proof in any way. But like I said, look at melamine lacquers, look at acrylic lacquers, all those sorts of things. Check the tin first to make sure that you can use them with foodstuffs. Oil's no good because, as we know, wine and things like that, that's acidic and that will just strip the oil off straight away. So just be a little bit careful with things like that. Okay, so I'm going to sand that. So we'll have dust extraction running. And then we'll turn it off and talk about the finish that I'm going to use as a decorative finish. then 400. My preference is to
spend 20 minutes.
Spend 20 minutes. Thanks, Charlie. Time flying. So a quick sand then inside. What's the first question on the list then?
So this one's from Martin Sheffield, and it says, "Hi Colwin, on several of the projects you have applied oil and then sanded it with 600 grain. You said it helps fill the grain. Would it help fill
Okay, so who's that from?
Martin Sheffield?
So this is a question from Martin. Martin was just asking, because I've used oil a lot to seal the grain and wet sanded it in. Will it help with tooling marks? It doesn't really. You may get away with it on a few timbers, but on some timbers it will also highlight them. So unfortunately it is that work with the abrasive. You've got to keep going until you can't see the mark. What oil does when you sand it in wet, it creates a slurry between the dust and the oil, so you get like a grain filler. So it's a grain filler, not a scratch hider. You do get a lovely feel from it. It's like a soft silk, almost velvet in touch. So that's quite nice. That's why I like using it. So we've been 20 minutes already, or a little bit over now, so I'm not going to go too long. I want the main exercise of today is the spiral. So this is just a means to get to that spiral. I'm going to use a sanding sealer, and I'm going to use a spray sanding sealer. Another top tip here, guys. Another top tip is these little handles to put on your aerosols. Absolutely fantastic. You're now turning that into a little spray gun. Axminster tools, we sell them. They're a lovely little addition. So a bit of sealer in there. Cellulose sanding sealer, that one. Cellulose sanding sealer, that one, so it dries pretty quickly. Dust extractor running, so all the excess is going down there out of my way. Just a little bit of a show in there, Charlie. See the finish so far. So a little bit of a sand in there, just with a fine abrasive, slow speed. When I say fine, I'm going to be using 600. And then on this project, I'm going to wax that. I'm going to use the Hampshire Sheen high gloss wax in this instance. Used this one before. This is the one with the high concentrate of carnauba in it, so you get a really high shine. It'll be quite nice for this little project. I nearly took it out then. Don't take it out, Colwin. What are you doing? Right, there we are. I just need to get myself a depth gauge. So, I'll turn the extractor on. Let's get that gone. So just to recap there, we've sanding sealed using a spray sanding sealer, a cellulose sanding sealer. And then I've used the Hampshire Sheen high gloss wax. Now I'm just checking the depth of the inside of that goblet there. Gonna put myself a little mark on the outside. That's where the true inside of that goblet finishes. Give myself a bit of space and scribe a line. So there we are, that's the line I'm scribed. Now I'm going to use a parting tool just to cut down. I'm not going to add the tool rest just, the tailstock just yet, because I need to gauge the thickness of what I'm about to do. So I'll go with a 1/8 or 3mm parting tool, and we're just going to scribe to my left of that line, so your right of that line. 2 cuts, just to give that the parting tool room. Now they are down to about 1 inch, so about 25mm. That'll do for the minute, because we need to leave it some strength. And if I take out some of this waste material here, again, that's going to give us a little bit of room to be able to shape the top. So get rid of the waste, and then start shaping. So I start where the bulk is. Get rid of some of that bulk. Just a little drag cut first. Then I'll start to shape. So remember, the inside was an OG. So we're doing the same to the outside. And you can never check for thickness often enough. Just checking for thickness. There we are. Now we can remove waste again. There, so now I can start chasing that area down. And we'll start bringing the curve around. So I'm happy with, excuse me, I'm happy with the thickness there. So I think what we'll do, we'll use the spindle gouge just to get in a little bit closer. The emphasis here is going to be on the spiral, so I'm not going ultra thin, but I do need it to be crisp. There we are, that will do us there. Next thing is we need to sand that again. So let's get rid of the tool rest, and then we can sand that, and we'll get the tailstock up there then. So dust extractor on again. How long have I been, Charlie?
28 minutes.
thin on the stem, and I don't want to create too much shear force on the stem when we finished it. So I want to get this sanded really here. So that's what we're looking at. So let's get the tailstock back. Okay, we're going to put the tailstock in there. To do that though, if you think about it, you use your regular tailstock, you're going to damage the inside. So we're going to add some, you've got a choice. You can either add some tissue in there, you can go for one of the nylon type tips and just shape your own dome on there. You can make a wooden dome if you want to, just to cover over the tip of your tailstock center. I'm going to go the tissue route. It's only going to support the inside of the goblet there. How are we doing? That's looking lovely. So I mentioned earlier that about some tech. Now this is something I'm doing myself. So I work for Axminster, but I am doing this for myself because I want to be able to give remote demonstrations and do my YouTube videos, all that sort of stuff as well. So I think tech is the way forward. It's certainly going to help. Remember why we started these videos, guys? It is as we were going into lockdown, we wanted to keep content going and instructions and inspire you to have a go, give you something to do whilst we were forced to stay at home. And it's grown, it's been fantastic. We've got so much support from you all that we want to improve it, we want to make things better. So my little old phone that we're filming this on now, it might get a little reprieve at some point, but it works, and I'd encourage all of you just to give it a go. I'm not saying live streaming, but doing these projects that we're doing, I'm purposely not aiming them at any particular ability. So beginners, intermediates, or you know, hardened turners. This is for us all to have a go at. This project here, I do this maybe on a shorter scale. I'll do this sometimes on a beginner's course just to show you how easy it is. So don't think that anything we're doing you can't do. Just give it a go. Okay, so what we're going to do here, think where the pressure is. So I'm going to work on little bits at a time. So get this finished and then move to the next bit and so on, because the shear action will be from the chuck. That's where all the pressure is. There's no pressure up here. That's all right. So let's have a look how wide. Shall we do the stem, based on the fact that we're going to take a lot of it away in the spiral. So notice the varying cuts that I'm giving this. It's not all the same cut from the bowl gouge. I'm doing roughing cuts, and then I'm using the gouge as a skew. And there's our diameter. Got a couple of questions whilst I'm doing this, Charlie. Anything?
Yeah. So a couple of weeks back, we were shown a bit briefly some hollowing tools. One of which was the Axminster Pro with handle. They've had the handle and both the straight and crank pros for quite some time and get on with them okay. But they think they could do better with tool presentation to make better use of them. Would it be possible to get some tips on the correct / best advised angles for the cutters along the tool rest height?
Yeah, of course that's something we can do. Obviously I won't be doing that here, but yeah, let's do that in another demonstration. Probably, if I can't do it next week, we'll have a look at doing a little mini hollow form the week after. Okay, so I'll have a look at tool presentation and the probes, why we use them over a cutting type of hollow and all that sort of stuff. So yes, we'll get to that one. There, so I'm just doing an OG style base as well. There we go. So I'd like just to put a little bit of detail in here. Eventually, this is where we're going to part this off.
It's been about 42 minutes.
About 40?
Yeah.
There we are. So leave a little bit of strength. Now, let me just remove the tool rest. Just get that out of the way for the minute. Clear some of those tools out of the way. I'm just going to roughly sand that. So dust extraction on. When I say roughly, I mean just a coarse abrasive. Let's go to 100 and a 150. So that's 100 and 150. Now the interesting bit. Now is where it gets exciting. We can play with our spiraling tools. So I'll give you the tools. I've got my list of part numbers here, just to show you. So they're the tools. So tiny little 3mm one here, and then we're going up to a 6mm. So what I've got available, these are an old set of mine, but we do the equivalent now. They're called carvers round files. The 3mm version is 104.312, 6mm is 104.314, and we do a 5mm, which is 104.313. There's also the rider range of rasps at 103.896. My team, well, not my team, our team at Axminster are going to be putting all of those part numbers up. So you don't have to look too hard, but that's the tool we're going to be using. So let's go. What spiral size do we use? I'm going to use the bigger size, so we're going to go with this one, I think. Now to start with, you need to position yourself, get yourself comfortable, and create an angle. I'm going to do what we call a two-start spiral, so that's two spirals wrapping around each other. Your first job is to make a mark like that. Now what you have to do is keep your angle, that angle the same all the way down through, so your body moves as you push forward. It's all done without the lathe running. So as you push forward, you bring the chuck towards you, so it's a spiral like this. So there we are, nice little spiral wrapping around itself. Now, make it deeper. Deeper. So now to do the next spiral, if we start halfway between those two marks, trace it back up. And then nice and gently follow it down through between the marks you've already made. Deeper again. So where I start losing track of which one's which. Charlie, when you move that dust extractor nozzle back a bit. There we are. How easy is that? I'm not doing anything on the lathe. It's all without the lathe running. There we are. I'll stop there because I could go on forever, to be quite honest. But let's say you wanted to round this top over. So at the moment we've got like a ribbon style twist. If you wanted to round these areas over here, what do you do? So I'd stray away from the rasp file now, and I'll go to a chainsaw file. And the chainsaw file is a parallel shank. That's the good thing with chainsaw files. Not only are they going to clean up what you've just done, so that coarse file or coarse rasp, you can see how much cleaner that becomes. Let's just do that all the way down through. But then we're going to round over the top of those ribbons. So rounding those ribbons over, all you're going to do, instead of line that file inside, you're just gently going to bring it across, and then nice and carefully start filing the corners away. Now you can see what's happening. It's rounding over nicely. There. Now, the next thing, and that's with a fine file, there's a little bit more sanding to do, but to do that, you wrap your abrasive around your file.
It's been about 50 minutes.
About 50 minutes. Well, we're going to stop in a minute, guys. I'm going to finish this for you for the next, hopefully, live session. And what I think I'm going to do is not actually part this off. So I'm going to do all the sanding I need to do, which is the boring bit. You don't need to see that, because basically all we're going to do now, go down through the grades, repeating what I've done with the chainsaw file, sand this nicely. I'll put the sealer on, put the wax on, and then I'll part off. I'll part off for you when we join up again on Tuesday. Pan back. But there, you know, those simple files, the part numbers we're going to have on the links for you guys, so you'll be able to see those. But that's a very simple way of creating a nice bit of decoration on your goblets, on finials, that sort of stuff. Yes, we're going to use the texturing and spiraling tools that was mentioned, the Sorby one. We're going to use the crown version next week. But this is if you want to do something a bit bigger. Now, true barley twist, in like table legs and stool legs, that sort of stuff, they're a different method again, and that is very much off a lathe. That's using a saw, it's using barley twist gouges, again without the lathe running. So hopefully blown a few myths away there. It's a fairly easy thing to do. It might look a little bit tricky, honestly. Like I say, I do that on beginner courses. You can do that, bit of waste wood, and just practice it. You've got the links to the part numbers. But again, guys, I'm so sorry that we couldn't be live with you, but next week, everything crossed, then things will be back to normal, and we should be back live. So look forward to Tuesday. Have a great weekend until then. 4 o'clock, my workshop. I've been Colwin Way for bringing the tools to your home, bringing the skill centre to your home. See you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.